It's Saturday morning, and that means it's time for Spartan Nation TV. With me, your host, Hondo Carpenter from SpartanNation.com. Joined by the Duckett Dynasty, legendary Michigan State and NFL running backs, Tico and TJ Duckett. Now, it's time for Spartan Nation TV. Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to Spartan Nation TV. I'm your host, Hondo Carpenter, along with legendary Michigan State and NFL running backs, the great TJ and Tico Duckett. Gentlemen, good to see you this morning.
Glad to be here.
Well, I made it back from Eugene. Tico, I'm going to throw you the first question because you're the old one. We want to give respect to our elders.
Okay.
46-27. We're going to break the game down, but just initial response as you watched it.
The way I watched it, I think we got beat by one person, and that's Marcus Mariota. He took control of the game when they needed it. He was like the Michael Jordan. When they needed it, he got it, and he beat us.
I'm going to go the opposite way. I'm going to say we beat ourselves. I'm going to say there was plays that we could have made. There was chances for us to step up that we didn't. And we went out thinking we were going to be this national contender, and we ran up against the wall and realized we weren't where we thought we were.
I'm going to say this to you, 2 points. Number one, it was a tale of one quarter, essentially. Michigan State scored all of their points except 3 in the second quarter. In the third quarter, they came out on their first drive and got a field goal, and we're done. You don't beat top teams like Oregon only scoring essentially in one quarter, TJ.
Yeah, and we started slow. I mean, everything that you don't do, having that foot on the pedal like we talked about before, all these things that you don't do, we did them.
Gentlemen, I watched the game just before lunch on Monday at 5 times on video as well as live. And I'm going to tell you this, all but one play, the 4th and 2 when Michigan State went for it, which I think D'Antonio made the right call, but it was the wrong play. I thought the coaching was phenomenal. And you guys know I'm not one who hesitates to call them out.
Yeah, they called a great game. They put the players in the position to make the plays. But this is the game when big players make the big play in the big game, great players. And this was the time for a multitude of players to make that play.
I'm going to throw this out, and it's a big throw. This is a game where the loss rests on the players. That was their chance to shine.
I agree. The stage was set. The atmosphere was set. It's just the right recipe for the stars to be born. And there wasn't a star born on last week.
And it's a maturity, I think.
Yeah.
I think what it is, it shows that we are capable, but we're not mature enough yet to go into a hostile environment and own that space.
Totally agree with you.
Absolutely.
Marcus Mariota, guys, first of all, I love the kid. I think he's a great kid. I've interviewed him a few times, spent some time around him. Terrific kid, really talented. But you saw what a big-time player did. Michael Jordan once told me that I asked him what was the most underrated part of your game. And he said, I like to think that I made people around me better. Yeah. Mariota did.
He did. And that's what I like about him. He has my vote for Heisman this year. I mean, the guy's tall, he's quick, he makes great decisions, and I really like him as a player.
And a lot like TJ, not so much like you. He doesn't like to talk about himself.
Easy.
Yeah, no, he's a great player, but we also had a chance to make plays to stop him.
Right.
I totally agree with you. All right, you're watching Spartan Nation TV. When we come back, we're going to start digging in on the Oregon loss. We'll talk offense when we come back.
MSU Federal Credit Union is a proud supporter of Michigan State University athletics.
On or off the court.
MSU Federal Credit Union
supports my team.
My team.
My team.
My team. And we just wanted to say thanks.
Thank you, MSU FCU.
Thanks.
Thank you.
The right moves can win a game. The wrong move can take you out. Get off the sidelines and back in the game with world-class care from MSU Sports Medicine. Our team of physicians and specialists diagnose and treat athletic and performance injuries. We've expanded our care to include pediatric sports and injuries associated with dance and performing arts. Our team will get you back on track, whatever your game. Call MSU Sports Medicine at 884-6100.
We're the babes from Orchard Street, and you're watching Spartan Nation TV. Go Green! Go away! Woo!
This segment of Spartan Nation TV is brought to you by our good friends at Simple Tee Printing and Embroidery. We make shirts
and we give back.
Good morning. Welcome back to Spartan Nation TV. I'm Hondo Carpenter with TJ and Tico Duckett. We let off the last segment with Tico, so we're going to go back to TJ as we talk about the offense. TJ, I watched every single play Dave Warner called. Other than the going for it on fourth down, I thought it was his best called game as a coordinator at Michigan State. Quite frankly, he had the guys in the right place. They just didn't make the plays.
Great calls. I'm not the biggest fan of the shotgun. That's just me. I like us to line up, have a guy in the backfield, dot in the I, and that still gives us versatility to be who we are in a power football game, utilize the tight ends, and still spread the ball around. Other than that 4th and 1 play, which, again, if the guy would have pulled and hit the right person, we had a play. But other than that, yeah, it was a great call.
Your thoughts on Warner's performance?
I think it's great play calling, but what it did do is I think it exposed Connor Cook a little bit as far as his ability to mature, as we talked about. And it was time for him to step up, and we just didn't see it happen.
I'm going to throw another issue. I'd like to do these big throws to you, Tico, because you're the man. Big egos get big throws.
I like the catch. Hondo, people are going to get the wrong idea about me. You know that?
I love this guy. He's my brother from another mother. There's not an ego on him. That's why we love to give it to him.
Oh, my God.
Lawsuit. All right. 4th and 2, they go for it. I have no problem for that. In fact, I tweeted at the time. If you don't follow me and TJ, you should. He still tweets, but it's on rocks and parchment. But I tweeted at the time, I love this. That shows stones. That shows I'm going to go into Oregon with a plan to win. I love the call by D'Antonio. I hate the play call, which was an up-the-middle dive. And here's why. Talking to Oregon players and coaches after the game, they all said, we didn't even consider it was a pass. We knew they were running it the whole time. That's bad.
That's real bad because now you're already telling them what we're going to do. I mean, we're not utilizing the quarterback the way we should. I don't know if it's because of the ability or just our stubbornness to smash mouth, but they're right.
TJ, a concern that I have about the Michigan State offense is very simple, and this is not Dave Warner's fault. It wasn't Don Treadwell's fault or Dan Rochar's. It's Mark D'Antonio's fault. There is no mobility from the quarterback. Connor Cook has the ability to run. We know that Damian Terry does, so does Tyler O'Connor, and quite frankly, Andrew Maxwell did coming out of high school. The fact that there's no mobility, multiple coaches now have commented when they play Michigan State, it's a thing they don't have to plan for, and it benefits them. At what point do they say, I don't care if you lose yardage, 3 times a game you got to run? They've got to respect that.
Yeah, you do have to sprinkle it in there. You do have to add some type of having the quarterback run out of the pocket some way. But also, we have players that are electric that can make plays. And Connor Cook, he was able to throw the ball away a week and a half ago, or 2 weeks ago. But now he was taking sacks. That hurts us no matter how you say it. But for us to be able to be that dominant, and going back to the fourth down, that's what we do. We pound. So you know I'm running here. You know where the ball's coming. Your job is to stop it. The problem was our people up front did not come through and follow through in that moment.
There was no push.
There was no push.
Here's another problem, though, is you got Oregon with 9 guys in the box. 9 guys. You have 2 wide receivers split out, and you bring 1 in motion.
Exactly.
So now you've brought a 10th guy into the box. If you heard the game on TV, Charles Davis literally said, all right, it looks like they're passing here because they've got everyone tucked in. I mean, even the announcers were saying, well, they got to pass out of this, right?
Yeah, well, sometimes you're looking for a different identity, and you make the wrong calls trying to outsmart the other team. And I think that's what happened.
And that would have been a good play talking about a mobile quarterback is to fake it, boot out.
Yeah.
I mean,
I said it on Twitter. I want a boot where there's a pass option, dragging Josiah Christ across the middle.
Simple. Yeah. That's a simple play.
And I mean, it's we are a pound, green pound. That's who we are.
And I don't ever want to change
that. And I
it.
never want to change that. But we also have to own who we are. It's 4th and goal, or 4th and 1, 4th and 2. We need 3.
4th is something, right?
But I mean,
it's 4th down.
But even from the defensive standpoint, when they had the goal line, when the guy caught the touchdown, I mean, again, we stepped up and we said who we were at that moment.
I agree. 466 yards of total offense, and it wasn't enough.
It's not enough when you're playing the big guys.
I agree.
Yeah, sure.
I think if we can come away from a lesson, is afterwards they said, well, our goal of winning the Big Ten is still our first and foremost priority. Well, okay, you did win the Big Ten. But then you got on a national stage like you did with Alabama a couple years ago, and you got your butt handed to you.
Absolutely. Well, Hondo, I look at it like this. We're still in the process of growing into a national champ. And this was one of the greatest games to learn basically what we need to work on.
I totally agree.
And so that's where the fans and people have to understand this is a process. We may not be national champions this year, but we're in the process of that's what our conversation is every year.
Jeremy Langford ran for 94 yards, but I'm sorry. I'm not seeing the explosiveness. I'm seeing a lot of dancing, not some explosion. Your thoughts,
Lots
Tico?
of dancing. I saw that right away. I don't know if he's hurt. I don't know if he's now trying to make a big play every time. I know as a running back, sometimes you're looking for the big play, so you're looking downfield, and you start dancing. So I don't know. I don't know about
I want to throw to you, TJ, when you played, everyone knows the stadium, when you would run over people. You did it. It was natural to you. But you can have a tendency where you want the crowd to do that, and you play for big plays, and that's not smart, is it?
Yeah, and you have to let the game come to you. And being that runner, you, especially having a great year and a lot of expectations, you're pressing, you need the big play, and it's just natural flow. Let it come, hit the hole where you're supposed to, and eventually it opens up.
That's where I think he can learn a lot from you, Tico. You tried to just get the yardage, and then you got the big plays. That was one of your biggest strengths.
Absolutely.
We're going to turn to the defense. Maybe we'll find a compliment for Tico just to keep him happy when we come back.
Hi, I'm Kevin Whitkin, owner of Discount 1 Hour Signs. We've been proudly serving the Lansing area since 1979. We pride ourselves in producing the best signs at the best prices, fast. From traditional graphics, vehicle wraps, lighted signs, whatever your needs, we do it all. Remember, a business with no sign is a sign of no business. Discount Signs, Lansing's top sign shop since 1979.
This segment of Spartan Nation TV is brought to you by our good friends at the MSU Federal Credit Union, proud sponsors of MSU Athletics.
Good morning. Welcome back to Spartan Nation TV. I'm your host, Hondo Carpenter, along with legendary Spartans, NFL running backs, TJ and Tico Duckett. Gentlemen, it usually is a good thing in Spartan football when you talk about the defense, but let's talk about this one. Missed tackles. That's not Narduzzi's fault. He had the right defenses called, but they weren't making plays.
They weren't making plays at all. I think their eyes were wide. It was a big game. And Oregon was a fast team. You know, it wasn't what we're used to.
I think the speed is what caught them off guard. They're used to chasing. They're used to tackling. I mean, this guy's spinning. They're hitting these seams. They're getting beat deep, whether they think they can watch the run, see if someone's coming, and make up with it. And they realize that you have to be right where you need to be.
Good point. 173 yards rushing. We said right on this show last week the key was 150. They got over it.
And that's our key, our staple is stop the run, and then keep the quarterback contained. The quarterback ran on his own. They were able to run.
In the fourth quarter.
Right.
In the fourth quarter, but still.
When it counts.
In the fourth, but early in the game, I mean, a scramble, a missed tackle, that's still him running.
I agree with you.
It's still the same.
You know what? We missed Denikos Allen. You know, if he could just still be on the team, I think he brought a lot to this team toughness that we don't have anymore.
Total great analysis there, but I'm going to give you a name I think we miss more, and not from his ability to play. We miss Max Bullock getting guys in the right spot.
That's true.
And I think there are a lot of guys faster, bigger, stronger than Max. No argument. But his biggest strength was between the ears.
We got guys in the right spot. They're not making the tackle.
Right.
I mean, that's the thing. We can talk about who we miss, and we can talk about these great players that we had, but we have multiple guys surrounding the quarterback. He steps up, he spins.
Yes.
We have multiple players who can make these plays, but it's finishing the deal.
Yeah, let me piggyback on that real quick. We are talking negative and missing tackles, but they're going to learn from this week to next week. And I just want everyone to understand that the big jump from this week to next week is going to be phenomenal.
And our closing shot prediction segment, you don't want to miss it. I think this week could be a blessing.
Sure.
And I'm going to explain how that's at the end of the show.
I can't wait.
Now,
I can't wait.
Hondeezy.
Now, see, I've been called the great Hondini, Hondificus, but you call me Hondeezy.
Hondeezy.
Yeah, just call me Hondeezy. All right, guys. I stick with Oregon because I think we're missing one key point. We do miss a Danico Sound, and we do miss a brain of a Max Bulla. The point is, we got guys that can play football, and we got guys that can win a national championship. I think Michigan State went into that locker room, and they said, see, we can play with these guys.
Yeah.
And they got sassy. And Nick Saban said last year he did not think the Alabama team won the national title, not because they weren't good enough, because he felt like they were a little entitled. I remember when Michigan State built their new locker room, and Tom Izzo said to me, you know, I'm concerned, because the players that walk in here now have the new beautiful practice facilities. They see the banners and they got all the great uniforms in the locker rooms. But they don't know the work it took to get here. And I think there was some young guys on the Michigan State football team that said, oh, yeah, see, we're here now. And they thought Oregon was beat. Well, Oregon came to play 4 quarters, TJ.
And that's the maturity factor. That's them last year coming in, Coach D'Antonio, the rest of the staff, really molding them and getting them in a position to make the plays. But now they have to own it. They have to say, we are this great team. We do make these great plays. And to go into the locker room thinking, oh, yeah, this is who we are. Yeah, we've had 24 points, had a great second quarter. To go in and don't you think that they're upset and they want to come out and make the same exact play at a national title championship level? And that's where we haven't fully learned to close the deal, if you will, yet.
Absolutely.
And you got to learn how to win.
You have to learn how to close the deal.
Especially at that level.
Yeah, but D'Antonio, Izzo has said numerous times when you get young guys in here, man, we like to play tough games early because I want them to learn what it takes to win. There is an element of learning to win. When does that really hit a guy?
Well, I think it hits you after you get your first loss. That's the first one. When you lose against a big-time team and you learn. And Coach Perlis used to always say this, don't read your own press. And I think some of these kids, you know, they're being told they're national champions. You know, they went up against Oregon. They just kind of got the big head and didn't put their foot on the pedal.
In all my years of covering sports, TJ, I don't know if I ever met anybody as humble as you. You were the #1 recruit in the country. You were a linebacker. You were a running back. You were anything you wanted to be.
Oh, thanks. Appreciate it.
Okay. I'm asking you, how did you keep a level head? Was it this guy who was constantly?
The truth, it is the family that I was raised in. It was both my mother and my father. But other than that, it's the off-season work.
Awesome. We'll be right back with more.
I bet you've got some dreams. My dreams drive my passion. To do what I love.
To make a difference by teaching others.
To make the world a greener and better place. To run my own business.
To see where the road takes me.
MSU Federal Credit Union offers auto loans to help drive your dreams to reality.
We know you've got dreams. MSU FCU can help. The right moves can win a game. The wrong move can take you out. Get off the sidelines and back in the game with world-class care from MSU Sports Medicine. Our team of physicians and specialists diagnose and treat athletic and performance injuries. We've expanded our care to include pediatric sports and injuries associated with dance and performing arts. Our team will get you back on track, whatever your game. Call MSU Sports Medicine at 884-6100.
We're from the House of GDI, and you're watching Spartan TV. Go Green!
This segment of Spartan Nation TV is brought to you by our good friends at Message Makers, creators of experiences that transform.
Good morning. Welcome back to Spartan Nation TV. I'm your host, Hondo Carpenter, with Tico and TJ Duckett. Gentlemen, we're going to go back and talk more Michigan State after the break and predictions, but I want to, in this big, important fourth segment, talk about the performance of the Big Ten, or lack of performance. Michigan State lost on the road to a top 5 team. There's no shame in that. I think getting blown out the way they did, though, that's a little bit depressing. Michigan chose not even to show up against the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. That was pathetic. Nebraska needed a miracle by the best player in the conference, Amir Abdullah, to beat 1AA McNeese State. The MAC owns us. The state of the Big Ten, Tico.
Oh, I don't know. It's falling apart. But again, Hondo, it's early in the season. I think you're going to see a great improvement. And, you know, Big Ten's not jumping out quite fast this year.
Can we throw a shout out to our guy, though, Danny Enos,
Danny.
Former Michigan State quarterback.
That was my
now
man.
the coach at Central.
Absolutely.
That was your quarterback.
That was my man.
Went out
Toughness.
and beat Purdue at Purdue. I don't care. It's still a Big Ten team. That's a big win for Danny.
It's a great win. It's great for the program and those kids to come go to Central Michigan and to play on this stage and then to beat a Purdue. I mean, that's a big deal.
But I know Danny. Danny's the toughest quarterback that I've ever been around. This guy brings toughness to the team. It's gonna exude throughout the whole team.
Gentlemen, this is not Michigan State question, but it's about all 14 NFL teams, Big Ten teams. Are they the Big Ten or the Big Fraud?
You know, I mean, we had a bad week.
Wait. Saying you had a bad week is like Roseanne Barr saying she has a slight weight problem.
You know, we all happen to lose all on the same day. That's all.
Exactly.
But we had a bad week. And I don't want to just jump ship yet. I mean, last year we had a lot of teams in the top 15, top 20 throughout the whole year.
All right.
And to start this season off, everyone has a bullseye. Everyone, especially the out-of-conference games, everyone out of the Big Ten has a bullseye with something to prove. And so now if every team goes into the tank from this point on, then we can be called that.
Okay, but TJ, I'm going to take you to task a little bit right there. I agree when you're a Michigan State and you're losing to an Oregon team, there's no shame in that. No shame in Wisconsin's loss to LSU. But when you're Nebraska and you barely beat a 1AA McNeese State, when you're a Big Ten program losing to MAC schools, there is shame in that, including when Michigan State's done it.
I agree, and at the same token, you have other kids who are going to these universities to get playing time, and they go into another school, a lesser-ranked school, and this is their Super Bowl. I mean, this is their time to shine.
I've never been a fan of playing MAC schools or teams that are much lesser, if you'd say, ability, just because it's the Super Bowl, and it's hard to get up for a team that hasn't won a game.
Plus, it's early enough in the season that they're not beat down. They're still fairly fresh.
Sure.
They still, and they've probably been working on this whole team the whole offseason anyway, coming up with a game plan to play, so they're 100% prepared. It may be different to play them at the end of the year.
I spent a couple weeks ago, I spent some time with George Perlis up at his cottage. Thank you, Sally, by the way. And he told me about playing MAC schools is, you got to remember, every one of those kids thinks they should be at your school.
Yeah, exactly. That's
and so they're coming. This is their Super Bowl.
Every last one of them.
They've been training hard all summer, all winter, just to play in that stadium.
I throw to you and to you, the listener at home. And by the way, you can follow us on our Spartan Nation TV Facebook page. Just simply go to Facebook and search for Spartan Nation TV. I throw this out. USC AD Pat Hayden, who is a great guy, Rhodes Scholar, brilliant, great player. We all know his athletic accomplishments. Also happens to be the athletic director at USC. He's on the committee that's going to choose the teams for the playoff. There's a rule in college football that other than the coaches on their headset, there can be no electronic communication from the bench on the field to the press box. Just don't want to give anybody any unfair advantage. His coach didn't like the calls the ref were making, so he said to his boss, please come down here and defend me. They texted up, okay?
Do that again.
Please come down here and defend me. It's kind of like when you were growing up and you were the big brother, but TJ always owned you, and you go, Dad, defend me.
I remember that.
Okay, so his boss, Steve Eric Sarkisian, the coach at USC, gets his boss down there, and the boss starts yelling at the refs about some calls. This has really started to take college football by storm. I'm sure most of you heard it talked about all week. As a committee person, he's supposed to be above reproach. Do you think Hayden should say, because they fined him $25,000, I'm going to step off the committee? What do you think, TJ?
Stepping off the committee, I don't know if that's the case. He is an AD for the school. I'm not saying it's the right thing that he did, it's the wrong thing. But for him to speak about his university, that makes sense to me.
Yeah, I agree. But I don't think he needs to step off the committee, but he does need to apologize of what he did, what he said.
And I would say this, I don't necessarily think he needs to step down either. I just think he needs to use his Rhodes Scholar head. We'll be back with predictions.
Hi, I'm Kevin Whitkin, owner of Discount 1 Hour Signs. We've been proudly serving the Lansing area since 1979. We pride ourselves in producing the best signs at the best prices, fast. From traditional graphics, vehicle wraps, lighted signs, whatever your needs, we do it all. Remember, a business with no sign is a sign of no business. Discount Signs, Lansing's top sign shop since 1979.
Spartan Nation TV is brought to you by our good friends at Video Vision 360, high octane, in the action videography specializing in sports, entertainment, and adventure. And by Claudia Irish Pub. Claudia Irish Pub, home of the Guinness Perfect Pour.
Hi, we're from Chi Omega, and you're watching Spartan Nation TV. Go Green!
This segment of Spartan Nation TV is brought to you by our good friends at Moneyball. Moneyball, it's the only way to ball.
Good morning. Welcome back to Spartan Nation TV. Hondo Carpenter, along with my sidekick, Tico Duckett, and the man that makes us both look really ugly, TJ Duckett.
That's me.
All right, boys. Time to revisit our predictions.
Sure.
All year in my magazine, on my website, I said Michigan State would go 11-1. After watching Michigan State in the preseason, I switched my prediction on our first show, said 12-0. If I have to revisit my prediction, which I'm going to do right now, I think they're going to run the table, and I'm going to tell you this. Michigan State players got smashed in the face. After the game, you could see it in their eyes. They saw it. Go to SpartanNation.com, watch the video. The point of the matter is, I think this will turn out to a blessing, just like getting beat down by Alabama did. They understand they can lose now. They understand they just can't show up and people are going to surrender to the jersey. I say 11-1, and they play in the Big Ten championship game. TJ.
Same. I'm the same way with that 11-1. This game, we've been talking about this maturity thing, but you can see in their face that they have confidence in themselves and they know work hard, step it up. We should be okay.
My dad used to always say, you're never married till you survive your first fight. Well, I'd say you're never really a championship football team till you get slugged the first time in the face and respond.
I agree 100%. You know, it was a wake-up call, I think, for them, wake-up call for the coaches and for the fans. Hey, we can get beat. So I think I'll still stick with my 11-1, and we've got our one blemish.
Nice.
Yeah.
Gentlemen, we now turn to the college football playoff. I was told by a committee member earlier this year, and not one who represents the Big Ten, that Jim Delaney is the most powerful commissioner in all of sports. He's the commissioner of the Big Ten. And he said, as long as there's not 4 other power conference teams that are undefeated, a one-loss Big Ten team is going to get in the playoff. He just doesn't see the other members turning on Jim Delaney when other conferences want 8 teams. Yes or no, Tico, will the Big Ten team be in the college football playoff this year?
Yes. Michigan State will be that team.
Michigan State will be that team, flat out, outright, all hands down.
Totally agree.
Totally agree.
Gentlemen, on a note of much more serious importance, the 3 of us are dads. There's nothing greater in our lives than being dads. And earlier this week, we saw Ray Rice in video surface of him punching his fiancée at the time, now his wife, in the face and knocking her out. I know we were all greatly disturbed by it, and there's a lot of young men who watch this program who look up to us because of some success we've had in our lives. That's not the way real men treat the women in their life, is it,
Not at
Tico?
all. I don't care what someone does. You never lay your hands on a woman, period.
There's no cause, no excuse, no reason it should happen.
Especially a big guy like him. I mean, jeez.
No sense.
No sense.
And I'm going to tell you this. You want to talk about NFL players? I know a bunch of them, including 2 of them sitting right here next to me, young men. You're looking for people you can look up to, people you can smile at. These are a couple of really good ones. And guys,
how much I owe you?
I'm going to cry. I appreciate you guys. All right, let's enjoy the week off.
Yes.
Absolutely.
I'm going to go to Knoxville, Tennessee and watch a football game.
Good.
Okay.
All right, let's go.
Go.
Spartan Nation TV, we'll see you next week.
Guest of Spartan Nation State Country Inn and Suites.